brought me coffee at 2 a.m., hours after he died. The last time I saw my husband alive, he was standing in the doorway of my workshop, smiling. At least, that's the lie I've settled on. It's cleaner that way. The truth started with the storm, the kind that rattles the teeth in your skull. Rain came down in sheets, trying to break the windows. And the phone rang, a shrill tear in the fabric of the night. I knew who it was. I always know. I picked it up before the first ring finished. Zoya? The voice was a tangle of static and wind, like it was calling from the bottom of a well. There's one for you. By the old quarry road. I didn't ask who was calling. You don't ask questions like that. You just accept the work you're given. I'm on my way, I said, and the line went dead. Next to me, Abe was a landscape in the moonlight. He slept on his side, his breath a quiet rhythm I had set my own heart to. One hand was curled under his chin, his dark hair a mess against the white pillowcase. The sheer fact of him, warm and breathing beside me, was an anchor. I leaned over and kissed his temple. The skin was cool, but it was a living cool. The kind you get when the storm steals the heat from the room. I'll be back before the sun, my love, I whispered. He didn't stir. I dressed for my work and rituals. Black slip dress, thick wool tights, my sturdy boots, laced so tight they feel like a part of my own bones. My coat, heavy as a sin. I don't look in the mirror. I already know what's there. The drive was a battle. The station wagon's wipers fought a losing war against the rain, smearing the world into long streaks of red and gold light. The heater whirred, smelling of dust and something vaguely sweet, like dying flowers. I gripped the wheel until my knuckles were white mountains. I wasn't scared. This is what I do. I bring things to a quiet end. I make them still. The house on the quarry road was a skeleton. A collapsed porch, windows like vacant eyes. No lights on. No grieving family huddled in a lemon-scented kitchen. The voice never said there would be. I took the gurney from the back of the car, its wheels crunching on the wet gravel. The front door was unlocked. Of course it was. He was waiting for me in an armchair in the living room, facing a black window. Mr. Soren. He was dressed in a worn but neat suit, his hands folded in his lap as if he'd just finished telling a long story. The air around him was heavy with the silence of a stopped clock. I didn't need to check for a pulse. You can feel the absence of it. It's a cold spot in the air. It's time to go, I said, my voice soft. I say it to all of them. I wheeled him out into the storm and loaded him into the back of the station wagon with practiced ease. He was light. They're always lighter than you think. My workshop is in the basement. Concrete floors painted gray, a drain in the center. My steel table gleams under the fluorescent lights. The tools are arranged in perfect order, sterilized and waiting. The air smells of bleach and lavender oil. This is the only place in the world that makes sense. A place for endings. I got Mr. Soren onto the table, and I began my work. The rhythm of it, the focus, it's a kind of prayer. That's when I saw him. Avi. He was standing in the doorway at the top of the basement stairs, haloed by the warm light from the hall. He wasn't smiling this time, just watching. He wore the soft gray sweater I loved, his feet bare. He wasn't wet from the storm. You do such beautiful work, Zoya, he said. His voice was quiet, a hum that settled in my chest. My hands stilled. A warmth spread through me, a liquid happiness. I didn't want to wake you. I know. He watched me for a long time. He didn't come down the stairs. He just stood there, a silent, perfect guardian. His presence made the sterile room feel whole. When I finally looked up from my work again, he was gone. I felt a pang of loneliness, sharp and sudden, but I pushed it down. I had to finish. Hours later, my work was done. Mr. Soren was at peace, covered by a clean white sheet. I washed my hands until they were raw, turned off the lights, and locked the basement door. The thought of crawling into bed, of wrapping myself around Abe's warmth, pulled me up the stairs. But the house was wrong. The quiet was different. Not the peaceful quiet of sleep, but a dead, waiting quiet. The air was thick, and there was a smell underneath the scent of old wood and rain, a cloying, sweet smell, like meat left out too long. A single fly buzzed lazy circles in the kitchen. My heart started to pound a frantic, stupid rhythm against my ribs. I walked into the bedroom. He was there, just as I'd left him. On his side, hand under his chin, his hair a beautiful mess on the pillow, he looked so peaceful, so fucking still. I whispered. The word got caught in my throat. I reached out and touched his shoulder. The cold wasn't the living cool of a storm-chilled room. It was a deep, absolute cold. A cold that had settled into the bone. My hand recoiled like it had been burned. A laugh, a tiny broken thing, escaped my lips. This was a joke. It had to be. I made myself touch his cheek. The skin was waxy, taut. I put my fingers against his neck, searching for the pulse that had been the drumbeat of my life. There was nothing. Just still, cold flesh. And the truth came for me. It didn't rush. It unwound, slow and deliberate, strangling every lie I'd ever told myself. Avi in the doorway. He wasn't solid. He was a memory. A ghost my broken mind had painted into the air because I couldn't bear the silence, the phone call, the static-eaten voice. It was my own voice, echoing back at me from some dark corner of my head. The quarry road, Mr. Soren. I didn't find him there. I'd brought him there. From where? I couldn't remember. It didn't matter. How long? My eyes landed on the nightstand, on a mug of coffee, a skin of dust on its black surface. I remembered making it for him. Yesterday? No. The day before? The days collapsed. The storm hadn't started tonight. The storm had been raging inside my head for a week. He'd been here the whole time, dead in our bed, and I'd just worked around him. I'd kissed him goodbye. I'd promised to come home to him. My brain had built a fortress of routine around the horror, pretending everything was fine. A mortician going to work, taking care of strangers. But they weren't strangers. They were my collection. My beautiful, quiet, still collection. Downstairs, in my workshop. Safe. Where they couldn't leave me. I pulled back the covers and climbed into bed beside him. I put my arm over his chest and rested my head in the crook of his shoulder. The cold seeped into me, but it didn't feel wrong anymore. It felt like peace. It felt like permanence. Outside, the rain finally stopped. The world was washed clean. And for the first time in a long time, everything was in its right place. I closed my eyes. I'm home, my love.